We talk about music, poetry, drama, and all the business in between. So,
Okay, welcome to the 5 Fact Show where we keep it short, sweet, and factual. So today we're speaking to this young, interesting gentleman called Michael.
Hello.
Hey, Michael. I met Michael a couple of years ago when we ventured into the Vrynge festival.
Yes.
And then, and now he's running the crap out of that thing. And that's what we want to talk about today. We want to speak about Michael, the Vrynge Festival, and arts in the Free State and Bloemfontein in particular. Michael?
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Angela, for having me.
No, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, Vrynge. We started that 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years.
Oh.
Yes, 5 years ago, the first Vrynge Festival in the Free State. So that was incredible. And we were like, what are we doing? How is this going to work? And even the public was asking us, how's this going to work? And we were like, we don't know, but it's going to do. And we did it. We pulled a lot of artists. And it's been growing since then. And the international component, the local component, and the genre component has been growing so diverse. It's incredible. It's really hard to say which Vrynge is the best Vrynge because the Vrynge is almost like compiled as a standalone for every year. Like the community dictates what they want that year, and you can see it in the program, definitely.
Okay, so let me just backtrack a little bit. In terms of your experience, and the response of, in particular, local artists, because I know, especially last year and this year, there's a lot of artists from other provinces that was like extremely interested in coming, they even paid their own way to get here, they were very excited. But what was the response of our local artists?
Our local artists, it's a good question because our local artists were in the beginning of the festival, its inception. It was like, should we do this? We don't really understand what a Vrynge is, and it's a new thing, so it's going to bomb and it's all valid assumptions and everything. But after the first year's festival, and they really saw, but this is a platform that's built for them. There's no selection. That's really, if you want to be part of the Vrynge, we'll make you part of the Vrynge. And that idea, because we as local artists in Bloemfontein, we don't know that concept of you want to be part? Okay, well, be part of it. It's unreal. And that consensus has really been growing. And then since we introduced like prizes for the Vrynge, best national and best local, the quality has improved tremendously. And the variety of Vrynge shows, and I'm speaking just locally, has been, you can't believe it, because you have horror on theatre, you have psychological dramas, you have comedies, you have children's shows, you have play readings done by very great playwrights internationally using local artists, specifically students. And that's how you create like a, how can I say it, almost like a bridging gap where, okay, I'm a local artist, I'm new in the industry, okay, so now I'm entering the Vrynge, I'm doing my show and everything. Now these people see my show, I win an award, or I don't win an award, but people saw my show. They say, listen, come next year again, but now you're on the main festival. And then your network is growing. So that's the biggest thing, is not only have the opportunity destined just for Bloemfontein. We want our artists to go out because we have a lot of talent in Bloemfontein. We just we need to find them and bring them all together. That's the biggest thing.
Now, as a festival coordinator or planner or curator, what do you think are some of the key things that you think I don't want to say artists lack, because we all grow, But what are the key things that you, or advice? Let me rather
Yes.
say advice. You know?
A safer word.
Yeah. What advice would you give, you know, to up and coming artists based on what you've seen, you know, since the inception of the festival and how it has grown? Because I'm assuming you get to watch a lot of shows. You know, what are the and deal with them in terms of administration and, you know, logistics and all of those kind of things. What are the some of the advice that you would give them based on the experience that you've had behind the scenes?
Okay, so my first piece of advice would definitely be admin proficient. Don't lack on your administration. If a festival says this is your deadline for your information, be on your deadline. It always looks bad if you don't adhere to your deadlines or if you submit stuff that's incomplete. The other bit of advice is learn to work a budget, because budgeting in this industry is the difference between you paying your rent or you being on the street. It's really that big, because one miscalculation and you're like, oh, I can't do this show anymore. And if you are the producer of the show and everything and you haven't planned your budget correctly, then there's a lot of other people that's dependent on an income and you can't give it to them. So yes, admin, budget, and then marketing. Marketing is not just putting up a Facebook status or an Instagram story or WhatsApp story or printing a poster and putting it up. No, it's really engaging. You have to call radio stations or for interviews. You really need to push yourself. See yourself as an artist and the production you are working or currently in as a business. So run it as a business. No one is going to go watch your show if they don't know your show. Why do they need to watch your show? Be compelling, be engaging. If you go to me and just hand me a flyer, it's not going to, that's not engaging. You know, maybe do a pop-up show just out of the blue. And then you're like, oh, I want to see more of this. I want to learn more of this, you know. A lot of artists also think, no, if they start the show, then newspapers will ask them for interviews or the radio stations will ask them for interviews. No, that's not how it works. You need to go set up the interviews because it's your show. The other bit of advice is use the perks given to you at any festival or event. If you have the ability to or the opportunity to watch other shows for free and you don't watch it, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
This is your chance to network. This is your chance to see, oh, I like that idea. Or, okay, these actors never missed any beats. And that's how we grow from each other. Use the networking opportunities provided. Like if there's a masterclass or a workshop or even just a mixer that the festival holds for the artists specifically, and it's free of charge and everything, to just mingle, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's been countless Vrynge shows that's been really, they've attended the mixers and the workshops and everything, and now they're working with international artists.
Awesome.
So and it's just showing up, that's all.
Well, you can't just be on stage, you have to work off stage, people.
Yes, it's a business.
Okay, so now to the pandemic.
Oh yes.
You know, I mean, no one expected that.
No.
I specifically want to talk about that process mentally that you had to go through to kind of adjust from Vrynge as we know it,
Traditional, yes.
traditionally, and Vrynge as we experienced it in 2020.
Online.
Online, you know. Before we get to the operational thing, like what happened mentally? Because I think, you know, there's a lot of things that happens mentally which affects you emotionally, physically, you know, and a lot of people freeze up and they're like, no, let's leave this, or no, we wait for COVID to
Blow over.
blow over. Like how did you guys manage to keep it together and say, this is the direction that we're going to go into?
Well, I mean, the first week was the hardest because it's like, okay, what are we going to do and how are we going to overcome this? Because it's so we've never had this situation ever before. And there's you can't really go onto Google and say, what do we do now? Because there's no recipe or blueprints or whatever. You can't go anywhere. You need to create the solution. And we were like, okay, but we can't just do nothing. It's in our mandate to support the arts. It's in our mandate, so we have to. And I mean, if we're not going to do anything, then how are the artists actually going to have a platform? You know? So, and we're like, okay, we know we need to do something, but we don't know what. So we started having online discussions, industry discussions on various topics, just to get more information from the community and the artists and even the public, like ticket buyers. And we really started to develop, and we were like, okay, this is not online theater because it's not theater. We should be developing experiences, and that's how we came to go into the operational parts. And we're like, okay, cool. Now we have all these information. We had a lot of debates and everything on whether we should or if we go online, will we hurt the theater part of the industry? And it's not really the case. It's actually promoting it and really enhancing it, because you're like, I like the story that I saw last year online, but I don't necessarily like the setting or whatever, but do you mind me producing it and then we check it out, you know? So there's a lot of opportunities that came out of the online component last year. But yeah, we just opened up the doors and had a discussion. That's what we did. And it was hard, but I think it was also a great process for us to mentally like go, okay, so we're not alone in this. We can really, we have a community. Let's take hands and let's do something. And that's how we overcame it.
Nice.
The mental aspect, yeah.
I think one of the important things for me that I'm taking out of this, and I hope you take out of this, is that you need to reach out.
Yes.
You can't do this alone. It's not.
No.
So last thing before we wrap this up, 2021. What can we expect?
Okay, so 2021, we've learned a lot. Not only for 2020's pandemic situation, everything, but even before that. And every year we grow and we learn from our mistakes. That's what makes the festival so wonderful. Is the festival isn't proud or isn't too proud to say we made a mistake or let's do better here or we can improve here a bit, because we're just people. And that's the core of it. So we've learned a lot, and we know also about more communities that we're like, we haven't seen you on our program yet, so come, you know, and wonderful artists. So now we're not only going to focus on the physical festival, which is going to happen in October, but we're also going to do online shows again, like we did in November and October, but we're also going to do hybrid shows where maybe you are in Hong Kong or the United States and I'm here and we do the show together.
Wow.
So it's part of the hybrids, and we're also going to have dedicated shows of the online program in venues. So you want to watch that online show or experiment with the online show, because most of the online content won't just be watching it, but you have to participate in it. Let's say it's VR, or you need to chat with it, or you need to engage or solve the mystery. You can do it now with real life people in the room as well, if you want to. So it's just building the connection again, because we are we're made to connect with people, and that's part of the program because we know this thing is still going to be with us for a while, but we don't want to exclude all the international opportunities our local artists can learn from. So, and that's the biggest thing, is have these international artists stream in, do workshops, and I mean, workshops has always been for free at us. So, I mean, it's free capacity enhancement, it's free networking. So, no, there's a lot in store. There's, I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to rock. Not just the online component, but also the physical festival. We have a lot planned, and it's going to happen.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Please check out the Vrynge. What is your... Okay, we're going to have all the links and stuff below for the website where you can check them out, where you can like read more about what's happening. But there is an art movement in Globe, in case you were wondering. So let's stay tuned. Let's check out the festival. It's going to happen in October this year.
Yeah, and applications open next week.
There you have it. So if you're a local artist, national artist, international artist watching this thing, you want to be part of the festival, applications open next week. Thank you once again.
Thank you. This has been great. Thank you so much. All the best.
Yeah.